Good afternoon, everybody. I'll try and give you a quick overview and perspective about education and skills in India. And you'll have to forgive me, but my emphasis will be more on skills, primarily because of the organization who I represent. If you look at the Indian landscape, I think the place to start when it comes to education or skills, the place to start is really the demographics. If you look at the graph, the demographic bulge, so to speak of today, about 50% of the 60% of the population today is under 29. And going forward, it will be about 50% till about 2020. The way what studies have indicated that by 2020, there will be a deficit of working population throughout the world, at least most of the world, whereas India will have a surplus population, a working population of about 20 million. So the logical conclusion would be that for any labor deficit country, region, the logical thing would be to look at India for their talent pool. The government is cognizant of this fact and appreciates that in order for labor to actually be able to work in different work settings, what is important to have benchmarked individuals. Again, this slide is actually 4 slides clubbed into one, but each of them tells a story about India. The first slide is essentially about school education. It's a little known fact, but 90% of children who enter the school system in India do not complete even secondary or higher secondary education. Whatever be the reason, whether it's economic or otherwise, primarily economic, they drop out of the system. As of today, there exists no formal avenues for them, or very few, if any, for them to continue on their academic pursuits at some point of time. The government, again, is cognizant of this fact, and we at NSDC are looking at skilling people irrespective of their basic education qualifications. The second slide essentially is a comment from NASSCOM, which is the IT, which says that even graduates at times do not have employability skills. So they might have the basic degree, but when it comes to on-the-job requirements, it's an issue. The third shows the dismally low rate of VET in India. And the last really goes ahead and indicates that in-service training in India is also. One of the first things we did, we're a very new organization, and the first things we did in the skill scenario was to do a skill mapping exercise. And though this exercise was done in 2008 and 9, when really the economy the world over was at the doldrums, these are sort of figures that came up at that point of time. So the incremental job requirement or human manpower requirement in India till 2022, that's when we turn 75, is 244 million. If you break it trade-wise, sector-wise, what it translates it into is 13 million people year on year till 2022. One of the things that the government realized was that they needed to skill India, they needed to educate Indians, but it wasn't possible for the government to do it on its own. And hence what the government actively propagated and went about its mandate is to co-opt the private sector into engaging in this mammoth task of skilling / educating India. When I say private sector, it covers corporates, it covers NGOs, it covers just about anybody who's not in the formal government infrastructure. This holds good for education and as well as for skills. We are one of the first countries that I know of, and the government considered it so important that it came up with a skills policy, which is there in the public domain, and which really lays out the mission, vision, and the roadmap and the deliverables going forward. One thing about India is the numbers. I know these numbers are difficult to comprehend, but India has a 1.2 billion population and growing. So what the government has decided is to skill 500 million people by 2022. Just to put it in perspective, it's skilling 50,000 people every day, day on day, till 31st of December 2022, starting 2 years back. So that's the scale of the problem. So as I said, the government has also thought of a coordinated way of doing it. It's decided that it's not going to discriminate between public vis-a-vis private methods of delivery. We have a political structure which is very similar to yours, federal, and the states are expected to play a very important role. And the whole government's objective towards funds is that it needs to go more into the operational aspects rather than setting, and the quality issues rather than infrastructure. The other piece is the importance on modular courses, not to look at short-term interventions, to allow vocational training to happen in a short period of time to enable people to start working, and then also at the same time work on a career pathway so that I can aggregate all the credits of these courses and move up vertically or horizontally. A little bit about my organization. We are a rather unique organization in the sense we are 49% owned by the government, 51% private, with 5.1% of our stakeholding being held by 10 chambers of commerce and other industry associations ranging from IT, ITES, automobiles, textiles. We're also funded by the government. So the reason for the government's setting us up was primarily to engage with the private sector, with the corporates, to engage them in this space. Historically, vocational VET in India has always been perceived to be the government's responsibility and has been through the government infrastructure till very recently. It's something which could happen only with aid, charity, subsidy, call it what you may. So the government decided that it couldn't carry on like this, and we were set up to work with the private sector, and our board decided to tackle the situation a bit differently. While we had the funds, we said that we wouldn't go the usual route of setting up vocational training institutes, but to get partners on board who had certain basic thoughts or beliefs which were similar to ours. And the most important of that being that vocational training needed to be sustainable to deliver the numbers, because nobody had that sort of money to deliver with a grant or aid or subsidy model. Our own target is 150 million people. With 15 people in NSDC, that just about translates to 10 million ahead. So we work along 3 tracks. Our first role is that of acting as a catalyst, of engaging with private sector, convincing them that you can make a business model out of vocational training. We've had a fair amount of success. We've actually been in real terms in operation about 1.5 years. The second important role that we provide is we provide patient capital in terms of debt, equity, and grant.